Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do another video talking through some of the items that I wanted to buy but didn't. If you haven't watched my last one, I'm going to link it up here, but essentially I'm just going to talk through some of the thought process as to why I chose to remove something from my wish list. If you've been a long time subscriber of mine, then you will have heard me mention my 30-day shopping rule numerous times. It's something I try and stick to for most of my purchases so I can be really conscientious about what I'm adding to my wardrobe. And I will leave a blog post down below where I kind of talk a little bit more in detail about that shopping rule that I use. So the first item that I chose not to buy but that I really liked is a cardigan from Alex Mill. I recently placed an order from there. It's a brand I've been wanting to explore for a while, and I purchased some of their basics, and this was one of the things that just really caught my eye. I love the fact that it is versatile. It can be worn both as a cardigan and as a sweater, which to me I think just adds a lot more value to an item, especially when it's a little bit more of an investment or a bit more of a splurge. I decided not to buy it because when I was looking at how it looked worn as a sweater, I really didn't love the details of the design of how far it came up the nape of the neck. I'm not sure what it is, but there's something about the way that it sat that I didn't love. In terms of how it looked as a sweater from the front, I think it's really stunning, and it also looks great as a cardigan, but there's that little detail that I found a little bit off. Also, I have so much knitwear that I don't really need anymore, despite the fact that I've really found myself wearing a lot of cardigans recently. I thought that having a striped piece might be a bit fun. You know how much I love my stripes, but I have had striped cardigans in the past which I haven't ended up wearing quite so much, and I was worried that this might have the same fate. The second item I want to mention is another piece of knitwear, but this one I chose not to buy for other reasons. So it's from Suzane, and I mentioned Suzane in my previous video as well. This one is called the Alberto jumper, and it's in this really beautiful pale pink. And I love the colour. That was kind of what drew me towards it, and the actual knit itself looked really nice and soft. But the reason why I decided to go against it, and this is from their new summer collection, is because I've had a nightmare of a time laundering one of my Suzane knits, and they're pretty expensive. They're around the 200 Australian dollar mark once you do the currency conversion. And this one, I put it in the machine, and this is probably my own fault. I did a standard short cold wash as opposed to a hand wash, so it could be that the cycle was a little bit too vigorous. But when I pulled it out of the machine, it had kind of shrunk upwards, or actually in every single direction, and the fabric was stuck. So I had to tear the fabric apart in order to actually be able to reshape it. And I've tried it on since it's dried, and it's not 100% right. So I do think I need to hand wash it again and maybe try and reshape it, similar to what I had to do with my Joseph sweater after getting it back from the dry cleaners. So that was really disappointing because I didn't have that experience with my Augustino cardigan, which is also from the brand. But knowing that their knitwear is pretty difficult in some ways to maintain, or at least that one, it just sort of put me off wanting to invest in another one of their knit sweaters for the meantime. And as I said before, I've got so many sweaters. The new summer collection is really beautiful though. But in the end, I decided that I didn't need anything. The next item was a top from Madewell, and this was more of an example of me trying to fill up my cart to justify actually making a purchase. I've been looking at getting some face masks just to wear when I'm out and about. It's something I've been thinking about doing a lot recently, and I've been looking around for different retailers where I could pick some up from it. I haven't really found any local brands that are doing these. It seems to be mostly American labels that have kind of jumped on this bandwagon, or Etsy sellers, which I have found some really beautiful ones. Maybe I can link those in the description box below as well. But I saw that Madewell have some, and they're really sweet. They've got these gingham ones which look really nice, and I think they've just got some plain block color ones. So I had thought about purchasing a set of those because they come in a pack of 3, and in order to justify the purchase, because I'd have to pay for shipping, I thought maybe I should buy another item to go with the masks, which is just really bad thinking in general to have. So this wasn't even a thing that was on my wish list for a long time. It was a singlet gingham top with a little peplum hem, which I thought would be very pretty for the spring summer season. One thing I have realised about gingham print is that as much as I love it, it's something that always tends to be one of the first things that I cull whenever I'm decluttering my wardrobe or going through and looking at what I'm not wearing frequently. So to me, that kind of just set off some alarm bells and made me think a little bit more carefully about why it was that I wanted to add this to my cart. Aside from the fact that the style was really cute, I realised that the actual pattern and style combination probably wouldn't work for me, and I'd also want to sit on the purchase a little bit longer. So no, I haven't bought the masks, didn't buy the top. I don't tend to browse the sale section of many retailers anymore, as I find it just serves as a bit of a temptation to buy things that I don't necessarily need or that I haven't actually wanted and just sort of seen shiny and new. And this was definitely the case with this next item, which was a Ganni maxi length dress which has a wrap style. Now when I saw this I just thought absolutely gorgeous, love the colour, love the fact that it's a polka dot print. I think the style is really beautiful, especially for in the summertime. It's nursing friendly. The list of reasons why I thought this dress was so great and worth the splurge was endless. But I started to think a little bit more deeply about why it was that I wanted to buy this, and I went back to that idea of my fantasy self, and I realized that that dress was really giving into that fantasy self. It was a completely different lifestyle than the one that I have. While I think will be really beautiful for summer vacation, it's unrealistic for me to expect that we're going to be going on anything like that anytime soon. And when it comes to day-to-day, just being at home, I know it's not something that I would reach for, and I've got so many other beautiful dresses which would serve the same purpose. So that was another one that I decided to nix the purchase of. Okay, so this next one is pretty similar in terms of an example to the Madewell one. I was purchasing a pair of tote jeans which I managed to find on sale. They'd been on my wish list for a while and I just got very lucky in terms of timing, and I bought them from Essence. So you know, I knew I was going to have to pay a rather hefty shipping fee, and I thought let's just have a little browse around and see if there's anything else that is classic or worthwhile to add to my cart so that I can justify that shipping cost, which really should have been beside the point, because even with the shipping added on, they're still a lot cheaper than buying them full retail here in Australia. So I had a look around and I was looking more for the things that were a little bit more affordable. And in the end, I stumbled across a Maison Kitsune tote. And I use tote bags every single day basically. I use them when I go to the shops, I use them when I do our groceries, I use them when I go down to the post office to put parcels in, I use them when we're going to the beach. They are a really functional item for me, and I've got a whole stash of them in the spare room just tucked away which I can reach for. But I found this one from Maison Kitsune. I thought it was really cute. I love the design of it. It looked really large, like you could fit a lot in there, and it looked like it would be good quality as well. But I realized I don't need another tote bag. I've got so many to choose from, and it would just be me bringing something into the house for the sake of buying something else. So again, that was another one that I decided not to purchase. I do still think it's a really gorgeous canvas bag, and I think if I didn't have as many as I have, I probably would have been more enticed to actually add it to my purchase. But in the end, I just got the jeans. I had restraint, and definitely patting myself on the back for that one, even though it wasn't a incredibly expensive additional item to add to my cart, if you know what I mean. So there's just two more items, and the first being a more spendy one. So at the start of this year, I was kind of looking around for a new handbag to purchase. I ended up deciding to go with a vintage classic Chanel flap, which I'm really happy with. However, at the same time, I came across the Mulberry Iris bag, which I saw so many bloggers and influencers wearing. A lot of people, I believe, got sent it from the brand, and while I was catching up with one of my girlfriends for lunch, I went into the Mulberry store and they had a few of them in stock. The sales assistant who I was talking to, she said it was her Mary Poppins bag, that she absolutely adored it, that was 100% worth the money for her. And I tried it on, I thought it was really lovely. It really is quite a practical bag and it does fit a lot in it. However, I couldn't justify spending, you know, over $1,000 on another handbag, considering I just purchased a luxury bag, and that in itself was a big ticket item for me. You know, we were having a baby, and I found it a bit odd that you have to purchase the handles separately to the bag. While I like that you can customize it and pick which color you like, I didn't like the fact that it was an add-on cost as opposed to being something that came part and parcel with the actual purchase. So that kind of frustrated me a little bit. But the thing that made it really hard to say no on the day was that they had 15% off this bag that was a bit of an it bag at that very moment in time, and it made it a little bit more reasonably priced as far as luxury handbags go. In the end, I came to the conclusion that I have enough bags, I have bags that serve that same purpose, and while I still really like it and I think it's really beautiful, maybe it's something that I would get further down the track, like in a year's time, if it's still around. I didn't want to jump on such an expensive purchase after only thinking about it for a short period of time, and also at a time when I knew we were going to have a lot of additional costs because, you know, we're having a baby. So yeah, that's the Mulberry Iris bag. And then the last item that I wanted to buy but I didn't is a wool cardigan from And Other Stories. And you will have seen the black wool cardigan that I have from And Other Stories because I've worn it so much. It is one of the best purchases that I feel like I've made this year. It is incredible quality. I think the price for it is right. It's 100% wool. It isn't itchy. It launders well. The list again goes on and on. I'm so happy with it, and it just kind of goes with everything. It's slouchy, but I feel like it looks put together depending on what you wear underneath it, and yeah, it's just something I've been really happy with. And when I was buying it, I was torn between the black and the ecru color, and since getting the black one, I thought, oh, it would be so handy just to have the ecru color to wear as well when I'm wearing a more neutral colored outfit. Again though, I don't really tend to like buying things in multiples. I find that when I do, I usually just end up wearing the original one over and over, and the duplicate, even if it's in a different color, is something that ends up just languishing at the back of my closet. And so I thought for that reason, I'm gonna pass on it, even though it is really beautiful. And I'm sure if I had it in my closet, I probably would get some wear out of it. But as I mentioned again at the start of the video, I have so much knitwear, it's kind of a bit of a problem area for me. So teaching myself to say no to adding more knitwear to my closet is something that I really need to do, especially this year. So there you have it. That is a handful of things that I wanted to buy but didn't. I really like talking through these things and just sort of, I guess, identifying the reasons why I might have a desire to purchase something and why it maybe might not be right for me. I get the feeling that I give into my fantasy self quite a bit, and maybe this is a topic for another video to talk about the fantasy self and how that really impacts or plays a part or a role in your purchases. Let me know if you'd like to see something like that in the future. But yeah, it's just sort of fascinating to me to really analyze my purchasing decisions. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If there's anything that you have been thinking about buying but you haven't, let me know in the comment section below. Actually, I think it'd be really fun to start a discussion down there, and I will see you next time with a brand new video. See you soon. Bye.